Mr. David L. Lowery Jr. from the NAACP. He's going to say a few words on our behalf.
Thank you, everybody. Good evening. Again, my name is David L. Lowery. I'm the president of the NAACP Chicago Far South Suburban Branch. One of the reasons that I'm here and the NAACP is involved, 6 months ago, we started to look into this mortgage scheme. One of our members was having a problem, and my legal redress department decided to really take a real close look at the paperwork. What we found out was this: 99% of all the foreclosures across the country are totally illegal. What the banks have done, they started with the subprime lending. They created the companies like New Century, Town and Country, and all these other small little lending agencies. And what they did was they gave us loans that we really couldn't afford, but we had a decent credit score. Once that we got into trouble, some of the people were placed in arms, which your mortgage fluctuates, just like the stock market. But when they got into trouble with this issue, what the banks did, because these companies were created by the banks from the very beginning. Bank of America here, they create New Century, then a New Century Financial, then another New Century Consultants, and all these companies are under one entity in the bank. Then they take that mortgage, and supposed to be, the mortgage and the note stays together during the entire time. And what they do is they left the mortgage with New Century, sold the note out to themselves in 3 or 4 different places, then put it into the securities trust, and then it was sold on the open market. Once a person misses a second payment, that's when the banks started to come the foreclosure procedures. The law states that when you take out a loan, there is no separation of the mortgage from the note. That was the first illegal thing that they did. Then they did not record a lot of the properties in the time allotted. They had notary publics who hold 14 different titles to sign on different paperwork from 14 different companies. So when we started to ask the question, who do I owe? That was the key question. Who do I owe? And when we asked that question, that's when we found out that the banks that are foreclosing, you don't owe them. The law states as a debtor, you have the right to confront who owns your loans, that you can have arm's length to deal with them. So once we found that out, we started to get paperwork together to sort of, we got a paper trail now. 6 months later, now we've been working with people all over the country. People have called us about our information. We're sending it to judges, we're sending it to mayors, we're sending it to other people, city officials, so that they can adopt some type of ordinance or some type of legislation, which we're waiting on right now to get passed to stop the illegal foreclosures. Now in Nevada, in September of last year, they enacted legislation, AB 284. And that states that if banks or financial institutions come into their courtrooms, it's a felony if you have improper paperwork. You're talking about 4,000 foreclosures just in one county. In September and in October, when the law was enacted, it went down to 117. And that means that the banks are foreclosing illegally. So that's what we're doing here in Illinois. We spoke to Connie Howard, who's a close friend of mine. We're putting legislation that Nevada had, trying to get it in the state of Illinois. They're working on that. And in the interim, the NAACP has also stepped up the pace to say that I went to meet with Chief Judge Evans, who is in control of all the judges throughout the state. And my conversation with him Monday was this: look, we need a moratorium. We have information that people's homes are being stolen, lives are being ruined. I need you to stand with us and issue this moratorium so that we can halt this. We're not saying, as homeowners, we're not saying that we don't owe the money. But what we are saying is, do I owe the money to you? And that's the glitch. That's where homeowners are able to take a stand there and fight off these foreclosures. Because we've sent paperwork as far as Hawaii, and we've stopped evictions. Every day we send paperwork out when we find out people contact us, and we send our information out to the judges, and they seem to understand what we're talking about and stop it. But more importantly, for the folks that are here, you're here to ask the president. You're here to send a message to the president to ask him to step into this thing to give homeowners relief. When we elected him 4 years ago, then there was a lot of issues that Americans were facing. There's still a lot of issues that we're facing right now. And to me, things have not been addressed. One of the promises he made was to deal with the poverty and work with poor people. That's us. There is no more middle class. It's called the working poor middle class. So what we're doing now today is saying, not only do we need you to help us in this situation, we need you to step up to the plate and deal with the issues that the American people are having. How is it every day we can send money all over the country to help everybody else? We've been in 2 wars that's cost us billions of dollars, and we did not win. God bless America, but he ain't blessing us now because we're on the wrong side of the fence. And until we realize what's happening to us, then we're going to stay in this situation. That 1% is always going to rule. But that 1% cannot exist without us. So I just think it's time that we take our power back. It's time we hold the politicians accountable.